A long time ago, in a galaxy far, far away, tensions have risen across the kettlebell universe. Two rival factions clash for dominance. The Hardstyle order, disciplined warriors of explosive power and momentum, masters of strict movements, powerful motions, and grinding strength. The Girevoy syndicate, relentless technicians of endurance and efficiency, legends of smooth cadence, breathing mastery, and cyclical domination. One thrives on sprint-like intensity, and the other on endless stamina. Both claim superiority, but a new force is emerging. Led by the rise of the hybrids, also known as the hybrid, a mysterious third force, enigmatic, adaptive, and unshakably powerful, has emerged. Neither bound by brute force nor endless endurance, they embody mastery of both. Known only as the Convergence, these warriors no longer fight over methods. They forged their own path. Forged in the shadows of forgotten temples and whispered through ancient breathwork, this long-lost knowledge unites both worlds. The flowing efficiency once guarded by the Girevoy syndicate, and the raw explosive force once wielded by the Hardstyle order. And a secret rhythm, buried in breath and pulse, that fuels true strength, known only to the Convergence. The debate is ending. A new era begins. And if you consider yourself a true seeker of the ancient arts, consult the Forbidden Scrolls, a coded manuscript called the Kettlebell Code, hidden in plain sight, accessible only through the first link in the description. Few dare open it, and fewer still understand.
Grüezi miteinander, Gregory von Lebe Stark here. Alright, let's talk about one of the biggest debates in the kettlebell sphere. It's been around forever and it continues to exist. The debate is about Hardstyle versus Girevoy Sport. So let's first differentiate what they really are. So Hardstyle, you have to think about short explosive movements, maximum tension. And that's the idea, putting as much tension as possible into every rep. So GS is the complete opposite vibe. Long sets, high reps, minimal rest. It's all about endurance or hybrid endurance, a very special kind of endurance. So the idea is to move as efficiently as possible and conserve energy. So that's why you see smooth technique, you see breathing control, you see pacing, and you see a focus on flow or efficiency over force. Each system has its own magic. And here's the thing. You don't have to pick a side. You see, most people gravitate towards one or the other. And let's ignore the discussion about whether Hardstyle is rather suited for beginners and Kettlebell Sport is for hardcore folks. I completely disagree with this notion because we teach the basic sport lifts to everybody who gets started with us. And what this involves is a lot of skill, and people love learning a new skill. Yet most people don't need the extreme. What most people need is a hybrid. And this is exactly what I've been working on for years. And what I'm now coming to realize when I combine it with sports science and the way the body is working, it's not an either or, it's a combination and understanding which road you want to choose. So what is the hybrid style? It is a merger of tension, high tension and high capacity. We can do both actually. So we use the sport lifts, these cyclical movements, the jerk, the snatch, the long cycle. So we follow the most efficient way to execute these lifts, but we also use high tension, putting max effort into the exercise, understanding the role that your heart rate plays, understanding that endurance and strength and hypertrophy are diametrically opposed, and we have to change and switch up the cogwheels of our training system, the reps, the intensity, the weights, rest, and maybe tracking the heart rate to understand which goal we're working towards to. And the base of the hybrid system, as I now have found out, is your heart rate, not just individual rest. You want to be able to track your heart rate to understand what's going on with your body. So here's where this thing gets really smart, and here's where heart rate matters. Imagine, after a very hard set of a double jerk with double 28s or double 32s or whatever weight that's really challenging you, my heart rate spikes up to 100 BPM plus. My central nervous system is fried because I was using heavy weights. I was going at a rapid pace, and this was a burst set. So it takes me approximately, let's say, 30 to 40 seconds to do 10 reps of jerk. So now if I go again, just with a little rest, I don't give my central nervous system enough time to recuperate. This means I'm training conditioning, but my reps are now weaker. However, if I wait until my heart rate drops until 140 or maybe 150, and I go again, I can put more tension into the jerk again. So I'm using the efficiency of the sport lift. I'm using the same biomechanical reality, but I'm packing more punch into the exercise, waiting for my central nervous system to recover and my heart rate to recover, and then I go again. And here's the magic now. Now I get more mechanical tension and more protein degradation, which equals more strength and more hypertrophy. Yet I can also do it the other way around. I can go faster again, resting less. And this is where we talk about conditioning. Now I want to build up my tolerance of fatigue, so I'm training the endurance system. But since they are diametrically opposed, I cannot expect that if I train my endurance system, that my strength and hypertrophy is going up. And here's a very important caveat. If you're just getting started as a beginner, you most definitely make gains on all fronts. Because I always say the kettlebell is the tide that lifts all boats of physical qualities. So you make some gains with endurance, some muscle, some strength, everything goes up. But once you have reached training maturity and training autonomy, then you have to pick a side and train according to a particular crossroad that you are aiming towards to. And I'm basing this idea of training on the fitness fatigue theory from Satsiorsky. So that theory states that every session creates fitness and fatigue. Both happen at the same time. Fitness is the gain and fatigue is the fog. Both build up because it's a law of nature. That's why these initial sessions, even if you don't go very hard, and that's why we recommend a minimum effective dose, you'll always experience fatigue because fatigue goes up very fast and fitness builds up slowly. However, fitness consists way longer and doesn't go away that fast, and fatigue goes away faster, and this dissipates faster. If we train too soon under that theory, then we're under fatigue, so our performance drops. If we wait too long, we lose training momentum. Hence the recommendation to wait 5 minutes after every set is not accurate unless you're training 90 rep max or 100% of your 1 rep max training. Then you need more rest because then you're focusing exclusively on your neuromuscular adaptation. But since kettlebells are semi-heavy weights, we don't have to wait that long if we want to focus on hypertrophy and strength. So the heart rate is the tool to balance it out perfectly. I'm now using exclusively in every training session that I do, I'm using my Apple Watch, and I'm going to show you in a future video on kettlebell gear, on stuff that I use for my training, how I do it. But the essence is, thanks to my heart rate, I now focus what my body is saying and what's happening. And once it's green, I go again. Once it's in the red, I have to wait if I focus on strength and hypertrophy. However, as we have learned, if we want to focus on conditioning, I want to stay a little bit in the red. So you have to tailor your training. In my case, if I want to train for muscle and strength, I have to wait until my heart rate goes down to maybe 140 BPM. If I want to build for conditioning and resilience, I go again, even if my BPM is in the 160s or the 170s or even the 180s sometimes. And this is why the hybrid style works. You're not locked into one system. You use the kettlebell for what it really is, a tool and not a dogma. So Hardstyle or high tension is amazing for strength and hypertrophy. And we can still use this idea of high tension with the sport lifts. That's why we can make serious muscle gains even with these exercises, because our body just understands load and the way we apply it to the body. And kettlebell sport lifts, or even this idea of going for longer sets of time and building your endurance, is amazing for stamina. And this is why, for example, a snatch is so awesome, because it builds this incredible hybrid or special kind of endurance that builds your engine. And once you have a stronger or faster engine, you'll recover faster in your hypertrophy and strength session, which means your workout density now grows, which means you can put more work into the same or a shorter amount of time. So you get so much bang for your buck. So being a hybrid means you are blending both ideas with smart pacing and understanding what goal you're currently training for. And that's why extremes do not cater to your individual goal. Only going high tension means you lack the endurance. Only going high endurance or high capacity means you lack the tension. And so the combination of both is where you get the best of both worlds. So in terms of exercises, we use these powerful grinds for high tension like the row, the squat, the press, the lunge. And we use the sport lifts either for endurance, if we want to gravitate towards conditioning, or we can also use them for hypertrophy and strength gains. That's the magic of the hybrid style. And after spending years under the bell, I think the hybrid idea is the future of kettlebell training. It's not about choosing camps. It's about training smart, using everything we know and evolve with purpose. So here's the next thing that you have to do. Clean and press that like and subscribe button. Share with a friend who's also interested in kettlebells. And if you made it this far, download my free ebook in the first link in the description called the Kettlebell Code. If you're over 40, 50, or 60, you don't have a lot of time, but you still want to take care of your fitness, this is where the kettlebell comes in. And I'm going to give you a shortcut to success. So what are you waiting for? Download that ebook right now in the first link in the description or in the pinned comment.